30th September 2022. This isn't financial advice. Okay, so market's obviously pretty horrific, deeply oversold. That of course doesn't mean it can't get more oversold. Yes, of course it can. I have, however, bought a trade. So I bought actually options. So back in Digi. Tell you the truth, I'm getting sick of just getting stopped out of positions. Really want to sort of try and get my head into sort of refocused onto options. It's not likely we're going to move to America now anyway. So yeah, the thing I love about options is they can be a bit more fiddly, yes, but at least I don't get stopped out of them. So it really comes down to what you're willing to pay for the implied volatility. Anyway, I put an order in last night, so I got set somewhere here. So I've got December $35 options, so just a little bit out of the money, and I paid $2.30 for them. So what I'm looking at here is nice long base, and no one's talking about this stock for some reason. Anyway, nice long base, pushed out of the into stage 2, got really sort of moving along with this Bible gap up here. And it's floundered since then, but considering the market has pretty much just gone completely, completely imploded since then, it's actually done all right. So even though it hasn't been a huge performer, its relative strength is extremely strong at 98. Tag the 50-day here, has held that. So to me, look, that if I was just look at this and not look at the market, I'll say, well, what's the problem? Sorry, the black line here is the S&P 500. So you can see the S&P just dropping away, and this thing's just holding up like a champ. So the marked mean of any term, that's the holding a tennis ball underwater analogy. So of course that could be completely wrong. So anyway, we'll see. If we do get some sort of rally or anything like that, this thing could really sort of rocket along. So if it goes from where it is now to say 45 or so, that means I can sort of more than roughly 3 or 4x my money, depending on how fast that happens. So versus obviously a potential for 100% downside because it's the option. So I think that risk reward is pretty good. So I've taken it, but let's see. So I want to, okay, that's the first thing. Next, I'm sort of just going to make an observation. Micron, this is one that I held back here. I talked about this previous videos. Lost money on these options. It's been a dog ever since. So this is one of the semiconductors. The reason I bring it up is they've lowered guidance. So I came out with numbers last night, pretty good, except lowering guidance. So my point being is, semiconductors, remember back here, this was, everyone was saying, is huge semi shortage, electric vehicles, cameras everywhere, huge growth, blah blah blah, and it's just been a total disaster ever since. In fact, I've said this before, the semis have been leading this market lower. My point being, I just need to be so careful of what the current narrative is, and the more and more you hear it, the more and more you just need to be skeptical of it. Everyone was talking about it here. The trade was cooked, double top, and sort of led the market down. Anyway, just an observation there. Be very careful of what the narrative is, especially the longer it's been around and the more everyone knows about it. Righty. So there's slightly random topics today. I'm going to go through a few more Bible gap ups I've been working through in that study. I might be repeating some of the trades here, but anyway, I want to start with Wolf Speed. So Bible gap up here. Stock wasn't in a that was really stage 3, maybe stage 4 if you're being sort of harsh there. Definitely nothing to write home, but wasn't a nice long stage 1 or stage 2. Anyway, pushed out of there, and this Bible gap up ultimately failed as a trade. Now, again, the market sort of topped over here, so not necessarily that the stock did anything wrong. It's just the situation that it's in, the situation that it sort of got thrown in. So my question is, okay, so let's go through the things I'm looking for. was there an initial momentum burst? Well, yes, there was. Made a nice sort of push from, so the close here at $1.21 to $1.42. It's $20. That's pretty good. Pretty fast money there before it rolled over and then continued. Well, so far, so it hasn't been a monster stock or anything like that. So one of the questions I'm asking myself is the best thing to do is to at least sell some into this initial momentum burst, and yeah, in this case, yeah, absolutely, because you just don't know what's around the corner. Okay, another one is I'm pretty sure I'll talk about this. BTU Peabody back in. So stage one, lots of overhead resistance because it's a coal stock that had been hammered. Anyway, recapitalization, Bible gap up here. Okay, so question, did it ultimately turn into a monster stock? Well, yeah, it went from $2.30 to $20, so it's a 700+% return there in under 12 months. So just phenomenal. So the question I ask myself, go, well, what would have been the best way to handle that, apart from just buying long dated options and being happy? I've answered it. So say if I was buying some shorter dated options, is to sell into that momentum burst. So, I mean, sort of a bit out of whack here considering how big the other moves are, but it's gone from, so I went from $2.40 to $3.29 there. So those options would have exploded in value, and it gave you plenty of time to do pullback buys along the way, and also basically a new base here. So this is a case of sort of having a cake and eating it too. It could have made some money quickly on the initial momentum burst, although not immediately. It did flop to start off with, but quickly recovered. Take your money out or some money out into that initial momentum burst, and then just buying into when you get a bit of a pullback there. Okay, next one is, I'm going to jump straight to Meta. Just to completely throw this argument out, back in 2013 when it came out of its IPO base. Okay, so best thing there, Bible gap up, IPO base. So IPO flopped, based around here, got its act together, huge volume, let's go. So question, did it have an initial momentum burst? Well, yeah, it did. Actually went up quite a bit, just percentage terms. Went from $34 to $39, pretty quick, smart. So did it then offer, well, say I had some options and sold some, would have made great money on the options, but did it give me a pullback buy or another opportunity to buy sort of longer dated, further out of the money options? And the honest answer is not really. Had a very shallow pullback here. Didn't even really get to the 20-day moving average before it sort of turned around and got going again. So yeah, one question I'm asking myself is, if I'm going to do this where I have some shorter dated ones to make quick money with a view to rolling at least some of those profits for a more longer dated out of the money option to maybe pick up just a huge monster, I don't necessarily want to take all the money out because you may not get another opportunity to buy back in. So anyway, a bit of an observation there. Same thing happened with Tesla. No, I've definitely been over this one before. Of the same year, 2013. So long, very long base there, pulled out. It didn't actually have an initial momentum burst. It actually flopped. Now, didn't really mean anything in the bigger scheme of things because it just turned around and got going again. So again, what was the best thing to? Well, to say I sold, just waited here and sold into the momentum burst there. If I sold the whole lot, I would have missed out on just a life-changing sort of monster there. So yeah, if I'm going to be selling into that momentum burst, like most of the swing traders do, don't sell all, just sell some to reduce your risk, because many times it will flop over, obviously, or keep, take some money out and use the rest, or say sell all of it, and then with some of that buy new options that are further out of the money and longer dated. I need to sort of work through that a bit more, but it doesn't necessarily, stocks don't necessarily give you a decent sort of pullback on the way to sort of start them. Look at it, it's just went completely nuts. So you got to be very careful of taking everything out. Crocs. So what's going on here? It's not really working at all. Okay. Bible gap up. Stage 1, maybe stage 2, because it's sort of drifting up, but let's call it stage 1. Right. Market was fine. Ultimately did turn into a monster. So with this case, it was a bit easier. There's opportunity to sell some into that momentum burst here. Buyback. Buyback when it did a pull. When it pulled back to the 20-day moving average. Actually did it a number of times, and yes, you would have had to pay a bit more, but also gave you sort of these sort of shakeout buys or upside reversal days through here as well. So it did actually give you more than one opportunity to buy here. So yeah, interesting. So some stocks don't give you the pullback buy. You might think or hope they will, but some others will. Just about all cases, it's actually not true, but so many times it does make sense to sell into that momentum burst. So many times the stock will sort of, I'm giving you the good ones here, but will sort of fall over and flop from there. So yeah, definitely need to still keep working through this. I'm up to 68 examples now. So yeah, like I said in previous videos, it's turning out to be quite a big job, but pretty powerful nonetheless.